I have 7:30 on my clock. So good morning, everyone. I am Paula Scott with the Bluffton Area Chamber of Commerce, and I want to say good morning, Bluffton, Lima, Ottawa, and anyone else coming from for parts further away. Glad you could join us. I'm going to admit the Bluffton icon here. I just want to remind everyone that we are recording this. It will be on YouTube for a couple of months. And it takes me at least a half a day, maybe a day to edit these. So you'll see this probably late Monday. It will be available on YouTube. Feel free to mute yourself, turn off your camera. You can, unlike, a breakfast where it's hard to get in and out of the meeting, feel free to come and go a little bit if that is necessary. Better that than for us to hear your conversation with your staff member or anything like that. So again, welcome. I'm so glad you could be here for our chamber announcements, for our program with Bluffton Safety Services, and for our member announcements. If you do have a member announcement, I've sent out the agenda, and I don't know how many people have that in front of them. I have several announcements listed, but feel free to make announcements today. These meetings are all about staying connected with each other. And then if you have a PDF, a link to a web page, some description, that's really fantastic for our email that I send out on Monday, so that we can reach all of our other members as well. All right, so I'm going to get started with my chamber announcements. I want to say, first of all, thank you to everyone in the past weeks who has helped Bluffton be a bright spot with our holiday decorations, with our local shopping, our local restaurants. It's a tough time in the world right now, but I have seen so many positive things around me. And so I just want to thank everyone who's been a part of that. And I hope this meeting today can be a bright spot as well. I have to say, people are like, oh, Zoom meetings. And I don't know, this could be your 10th Zoom meeting this week. I hope not. But I have to say, as someone who, this is my office, I have no colleagues. I love seeing you guys, even if it's on Zoom. YouTube videos have kind of been a bright spot for me. Does anybody here remember Mythbusters? I watch Adam Savage now on YouTube. He is like my talking head hero. He is just, he's totally himself. He rolls around on his chair. One time he blew his nose. I promise never to do that. So I'm pleased that we can do this. I look forward to a breakfast with 60 people again. But I think I'm so grateful that we have this and that you're here. So the first thing that I like to do with our official business is to introduce our new members. And I'm so excited to say that we have 3 new members to the chamber. And we're going to begin with DL Steiner Incorporated. And Dan is here this morning to say hello. Okay, where are you on my screen, Dan? There you are. You've moved around as more people have joined. Would you tell us a little bit about your business? And I don't know. I'm distracted here. I'm letting in someone. Yeah, just please introduce yourself and your business for us.
DL Steiner Inc. is an energy consultant. We do electrical is our main focus, mainly working with industry throughout the state and also throughout the country. Industry and government, we do both. and we've been in business since 1988. I grew up in Bluffton, and I live near Bluffton. I have three brothers that some of them you may know. One of them is David Steiner, Mike Steiner, and Ron Steiner. And I know Fred. Fred and I graduated together, and we're not related. If it is, it's very, very distant. So that we have been in, like I say, we work in industry and energy. We do energy studies and system distribution, electrical distribution system studies, electrical safety, and a variety of other things. So we work both industrial and some commercial type work.
Thank you for joining us. I was going to say that was what was going through my mind, is like, I'm introducing Dan, but I wonder how many people in this room he knows. And indeed you do. Thank you so much for joining the chamber. I don't see Jim Enneking here. Jim has a new business, Enable Services, which includes document management, data analysis, and cybersecurity. And I'm hoping that he'll be able to join us perhaps next month and tell you about that new business. And I also have the Lima News with us and our contact, Jennifer Fitzpatrick. Good morning, Jennifer. Can you tell us what kinds of information you'll be bringing to our members?
Hi, everybody. I am Jen Fitzpatrick. I'm with the Lima News. And actually, one of the things I just want to do is get more involved and get to know the businesses in Bluffton. A lot of people know us as a 7-day daily newspaper, but we are actually a lot more than that. We offer online digital advertising. We offer any print magazines. Our biggest thing that we've been able to help the community with during COVID is we've been able to print, since the guidelines had been that the restaurants needed throwaway menus. We've been able to print the menus for a lot of the local restaurants here at a really, really, really inexpensive cost to save them some money. So we're a lot more than people think we are with just the paper. And I am really looking forward to getting to know everybody and showing you what we have to offer and what we can do for the community. I know personally, one of the things I'm working on right now is some more awareness of the little treasures that these surrounding towns have. Bluffton and Ottawa and Findlay. It's all about local. And I'm working on putting together a piece that will help draw some awareness between Lima and Bluffton to let Lima know what gems are in your area and help get the word out and hopefully drive some more people there to help your businesses.
Wonderful. Yeah, I have to say, for a little further down on my agenda here, the Lima News had a fantastic piece by Greg Horston called From Hobby to Blaze, and there's a link there in your email. If you haven't read this article, I learned things about, I feel kind of like I know the Blaze pretty well, but I learned things in that article about the history of the Blaze, quotes from the Reams. I think Mrs. Ream, there's a quote from her. She took a class at ONU. They quote something she had in her essay that she wrote for her, her class. Just really kind of little gems in that article that I really enjoyed. So Jen, thank you for joining us, and look forward to having your connection with our members. So I'm going to do a quick chamber recap. And we had a couple things up in the air at our December meeting. I want to announce that our best downtown decorating prize, well, is a trophy, bragging rights, go to Ryan DeMarco and family. I have to say, when I looked at the results, people really did vote for themselves, but there was a winner. there was a winner, a clear winner. And Ryan has this big ledge in his window, which makes for a great display. And Ryan, do you want to say hello and tell us about some of the reactions you got?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm first off very honored. Thanks for all your votes. Anybody who did not vote for themselves and voted for me. That was my first question to Paula. I said, "Hey, am I allowed to vote for myself?" So I did it too. But I think one of the coolest things is we all have our own little piece of Bluffton that we try to contribute to and make better. And for me, I was just super stoked that I received the reaction, the text messages, the Facebook Messenger messages of different people saying, "Wow, thanks, you brightened my day by your display." And as many people that did that, you have no idea how many times there'd be a little kid walking by, and the noise is incredibly loud, so I can't have it running during business hours. But we would stop what we were doing if a little kid was walking by, turn it on, and just watch their eyes.
For those of us who didn't see it, it's the train set, yeah.
Yeah. And watch their eyes, and then the parents behind them. And it brought everybody back to this place of just childhood joy. And no matter how bad of a day we were having, it was so amazing to see the joy on these families' faces. So it'll be back. I don't know what's going to be around the train, but the train will, I think, become a staple of our window display for many years to come.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that was, I got to see one of those children who was just, "Did you see the train?" So that was super, super cool.
Well, and the funny thing is, I am a super neat freak. And so we get our windows cleaned on a very regular basis. And I was telling you this the other day. Right now, my entire front window is nothing but handprints and smudges. And as much of a neat freak as I am, I see those smudges and it just means that it brought people joy. So it's all good.
Exactly. We also had a really exceptional turnout for our residential lights contest. And so I want to give you those awards. First place went to the Blackburn family at 215 South Jackson. Second place went to the Burris family at 240 South Lawn. Third place went to the Gessler family at 347 Sycamore. And the Mayor's Choice Award went to the Keeler family at 503 Grading. And everyone won prizes in Bluffton bucks, prizes that were doubled from the previous year. I believe we had 33 entries, which was at least half again as many as the previous year. And it was just a really enjoyable thing to experience. Oh, and I have to have a confession to make. This is the first time I actually went and watched the display across from the football field that the Bluffton American Legion puts up every year. And it's fantastic. I mean, I can't believe I had never watched it before. And so I just think we really do have a lot to be proud of when it comes to the Blaze. And I know we didn't have a parade, but we had so much that's still wonderful. And I'm just very, very proud of our community. So Blaze comes down this weekend. The fire department will be taking down the garlands on the businesses. So please have your boxes out by 8 a.m. John, do you have any other comments on that?
No, not really. We may end up having to leave the poles and the snowflakes up because we don't have access to a high lift right now. But they're wintry looking, so I guess we'll enjoy it for another week or so. It won't cost the village too much.
And volunteers are welcome to join in the takedown of the lights and the ream display at the Bluffton Presbyterian Church. that will start at 8:30 a.m. So I'm wishing you all good weather. I haven't looked at the forecast. And then we can start looking forward to what is to come. January, February, March can be kind of quiet in the business world, in the retail restaurant world. I have scheduled a meeting for January 21st to meet with our merchants. That's a Zoom meeting. You can join our Google group, Bluffton-merchants at googlegroups.com if you want to get in on that discussion. I think, this is a good time to talk about Bluffton promotion, and that's actually going to be the topic of our next chamber program in February. What do we want to do to make a little fun, have a little excitement going, something to look forward to in the winter months. I have sent out our membership renewals. I've had a lot of payments coming in. And so I am just going to rehearse my annual membership appeal to you right now, which will in part remind us all of what the benefits of being a member are. So this is what you'll see in a media release coming out shortly. Joining the chamber is a great New Year's resolution. It's easy and affordable. Some member benefits are automatic. We promote members through explorebluffton.com, print and digital Explore Bluffton guides, media releases to area news organizations, and Facebook. But other member benefits only come with participation. Members can take advantage of networking events, email updates, ribbon cuttings, group health insurance rates, the business showcase with Bluffton University, and other group promotions. The chamber also leads projects that benefit all area businesses, such as wayfinding signs, maps, the Bluffton Farmers Market, the Blaze of Lights Festival, Arts and Crafts Festival, and fireworks at National Night Out. Also, when residents, visitors, and others need information about Bluffton, they contact the chamber. As a 501c6 organization, we depend on member dues to provide this important community service. When your business or nonprofit is connected to the chamber, we can connect you with new customers, clients, patients, volunteers, members, etc. And then I'll give information on how to join. So that is a reminder of why we are members. I was a member for many years before I started working for the chamber. And so if you know of anyone who you think ought, sometimes I feel like everybody is a member, but if you know of anyone who should join, I would be happy to share information with them. Okay, so I'm going to wait to take questions to later, after our program, after our member announcements, because I want to spend as much time as possible on our program today. You probably know there was a fire in Columbus Grove recently, and I've just talked to so many people about emergency preparedness. And so that's why we have Jan Basinger, our EMS chief, Jesse Blackburn, our village administrator, Ryan Burkholder, police chief, and John Kinn, our fire chief, here today to talk about emergency preparedness. Thank you everyone for being part of our panel here. John, how would you like to start things off?
I've got some points here I'd like to bring up. First off, it's going to be more of a question and answer without a lot of answer right now. It's just more of questions to make you think about, are you ready for what might be coming? Like Paula said, we were at the Columbus Grove fire. That was a typical, what we call a type 3 structure. That is what downtown Bluffton is. Type 3 structures are old, usually 2, 3, 4-story buildings, and very few fire stops. When I say fire stops, that's a firewall. That's just a wall that's been added to slow things. But that building in particular had very few fire stops. So when that got up into the second floor, it just traveled from the front of the building to the back. By the time Columbus Grove got there, the fire was already coming through the second story. So, and their fire station is around the block, just like ours is. So it didn't have much time to get going, but it had enough time to do the damage that all of us have seen over there. We also were in Lipsick the following weekend, and they had a fire in a downtown structure. Same thing, it went from the front of the building clear to the back. Fortunately on that one, it was a one business rather than 4. So it's just something to think about. Most of our buildings uptown have fire stops in them in between the buildings. So that is going to slow down travel from exposure to exposure. As you know, we have tight alleys in the back. Some of our access may be a little difficult, but something we train for and it's something we look at. Unfortunately, we learned a lot at Columbus Grove. I look at things a little different when I go to a downtown. Some people are looking how nice the buildings are. I'm looking at how fast they're going to burn. So it's just something to think about. So what I'm going to do is kind of talk about some of the questions that are posed on the business fire safety checklist, kind of get you thinking about it and see how we can improve. So first off, does your business have a fire safety plan? Do you know what to do? Do your employees know what to do in the event of a fire or any emergency of any kind? Do they know where to go? We teach this to the kindergarten students and first graders when we do fire prevention. What is the safe meeting place? Because when we get there, it's pandemonium and we want to know where everyone is. So does your business have an accountability system? Knowing where people are. We're going to want to talk to those people. Was there other people in there? Where might they be? We know most of the businesses, but we don't know all the nuances of your business. So those are good things that we're going to be asking when we arrive on scene. The accountability, we don't want people just doing a free-for-all and telling you as the business owner, yep, I'm out, I'm going to go home now. Or if they don't tell anybody that, that's a problem because we're assuming that they're still inside. That changes our whole outlook when we have to go from some sort of a rescue or a search to fire control only. So a couple different things to think about in that respect. And Paula, feel free to stop me and interject at any point.
Okay.
One thing, fire extinguishers. Do you have fire extinguishers in your building? There is a code on how many you should have and where they should be located. And it's kind of exits, regular assembly areas, and they should not be hidden. They can be inconspicuous so that they're not just jetting out into a hallway or whatever, but they should not be hidden inside of a cabinet unless that cabinet is marked. If that cabinet is marked with some sort of signage that can be seen from multiple ways, if you have a hallway, then that is permissible. But fire extinguishers. Secondly, just like the fire plan, does your staff know how to use a fire extinguisher? I do a training for the university hall directors every year in resident staff. It's amazing how many people don't know how to use a fire extinguisher. They may know how to pull the trigger, but how do you properly use that extinguisher? We can do some trainings with staff So if you do have an interest in something like that, we have access to a demo, a simulator, so we don't have to do live fire. But I'm happy to do live fire outside, like we do it sometimes with the staff from the university. Fire extinguishers, most of them are 5-pound. That's going to put out a small fire, trash can fire, something small electrical. If that fire grows outside of its point of origin, 1-2 fire extinguishers are not going to be enough to put that fire out. You could try to smother it if you had something to put on it. But usually if it spreads outside that point of origin, you better be getting out. Close the door that the fire room is involved in. That's going to slow the spread into adjacent areas. Some of your buildings are going to have fire doors. They're fire rated. So that is definitely going to slow your fire spread down if you're closing the door. As I said a little earlier, does the fire department know your facility? We love doing tours, especially in the winter months when we can't do a lot of outdoor training. I know right now with COVID and everything, a lot of people don't want to be around each other, but we're happy to come, wear masks, do our part. But we love to get inside buildings and see what's going on inside. Looking at some of the attendees here, I've been inside a lot of your buildings. I may know them because I'm in there for an inspection or something like that. But a lot of my guys that are actually going to be inside fighting that fire may not know what's going on inside there. Where's the stairwell? You know, different things. Where's the electrical room, mechanical rooms for shutoffs? Those are things that we're very interested in, that a lot of people don't know about or even care about, but for us, that's important. So if any of you would like to set up a tour with us, we'd love to do that. We usually meet on Wednesday nights, which I know is another evening, but if it takes an hour of your time and our time to get to know your building a little better, we would appreciate being able to see that. Are your exits free of debris? Are they accessible? This is a major code violation to put anything inside in front of a door that is marked as an exit. I've been in buildings that they've got stuff in front of the door because it looks nice and they're trying to hide this ugly glass door that doesn't really do anything for the motif of their business. However, if I need to get out, that's where I need to get out. So don't block those. That exit needs to be unlocked. There should never be a key, a hidden key, anything like that, that your employees may know where it is. But if you have a customer inside that business and they have to get out quick and they don't know how to get out, that's a problem. So knowing where that exit is, having it marked, clearly marked, is very important. And like I said, blocking that exit does nothing for the people that are trying to get out. Heating units. I know a lot of times this time of year, we have a couple of our secretaries over at our Lima office that are using space heaters under their desk because it's cold. It's great, but space heaters are probably not the safest electrical appliance that we have out there. A lot of times get too close to other material, they get left on. So make sure you're using temporary heating properly and safely. At the end of your day in your business, do you shut off any non-essential electrical equipment? Yeah, there's the argument of you should leave a computer on. It's good for the computer to just leave it on. Should you shut it off? Different, equipment that does not need to be on may be a good idea to just start powering it down. when you leave for the day. Less of a chance, there's still current going to it, but there's less of a chance of that appliance or electrical piece of equipment malfunctioning and causing some sort of issue. Do you have any areas where you stack material? One of the things on code, no closer than 24 inches from the ceiling. Especially which a couple of you on this meeting do have businesses that have sprinkler systems. Sprinkler systems are 18 inches from the ceiling from a sprinkler head. I wish all businesses could have sprinklers, but I understand the cost prohibitive issue that comes along with that. So if you're stacking stuff, if you see your employees stacking things, make sure that they're not doing it as tall as the building. Up in town, we do see a lot of the businesses, storefronts do have basements. I've been in a couple of those basements. Just like the basement inside your house, it becomes a catch-all. It's scary. So keep those, you know, it might be out of sight, out of mind for you guys, but when we get down there, we want that basement as clean as possible, with clear paths for us to get in and out. Fire doors, if you do have fire doors, fire rated doors on the inside jamb are going to have a label on them that says that it is a fire door, and it's usually rated at 1 to 2 hours. Fire doors are not permitted to be propped open. If a fire door is installed properly, it should have a magnetic stop on it. If you do have a fire alarm, there's going to be a magnetic stop that releases that magnet when the fire alarm is activated. That door needs to close. The purpose of that door is to stop the smoke, the heat, and the fire from coming from one area to another. So make sure you're not propping any doors open. Like I said earlier, if you do need to leave, close the office doors as you're going down the hallway. That will, you know, slow the spread of that fire. Smoke detectors, everyone's worst nightmare in your house because it goes off. They're so sensitive. There's a reason for that. That's what they're supposed to do. We love to see hardwired smoke detectors inside commercial buildings, hardwired with battery backup. If you're unable to do that, once again, it's a cost. If you're unable to do that, it's good to see, you know, a few of those smoke detectors. Currently, they do make a smoke detector that is a 10-year detector. The batteries never need to be changed for 10 years. I just replaced everything in my house with them, and they're not, cost-wise, they're not a lot different from your normal smoke detector, and you don't have to worry about changing the battery or somebody pulling the battery out because it went off and then forgetting to put it back in. If you don't use the 10-year detector, smoke detectors are usually only rated for 10 years. On the back of the detector, you'll see a date, and that will change within 10 years. You should replace that, whether it's good or not. Emergency lighting, make sure you're testing your emergency lighting as well, if you have that. How many have, if you have a plan, how many of you have tried a fire drill? This sounds very elementary, but do your people know where to go? Do they have assignments? Maybe these 3 people go out this way and you all meet in the front or whatever, but do you know to shut the doors on your way out? So come up with a fire drill, practice it. If you want, get a hold of me and I'll come down and give you some pointers and help you work through that. You know, the schools do it and it works great. So why can't we do it as businesses? Never go back inside. We always tell people this in their house. Once you're out, you stay out. That stuff inside, I always tell everyone, tell the kids at elementary, that can all be replaced. However, you cannot. You know, these businesses, it's going to be a loss of income. It's going to be a loss of property. But unfortunately, that's the unfortunate part. Fortunately, we can replace that stuff. That's why we have insurance. Talking about insurance, make sure you are up to snuff on all your fire safety, emergency preparedness issues. If you have a loss and insurance comes in and finds out that you had smoke detectors, but you had disabled them all, they may not pay the claim. Without insurance, it's going to be hard to get back on our feet. So make sure you're doing what you can to keep yourself up to code. The fire code book is extremely long. It's not very accessible for free. But if you do have any code questions, you can let me know, and we can walk you through those. Some of your downtown businesses have apartments upstairs. Do you know what your tenants are doing? Do you know what they're burning? Most of them burn candles because they smell good. But unfortunately, that's not the safest thing to have. I know I used to own one of the downtown buildings. Heat was an issue sometimes, you know, old electrical wiring. When you'd go to do a project or some sort of maintenance, things were done a little different back in the 20s, 30s than they are today. So make sure you're keeping up your code issues, your electrical, anything that needs to be done. You have the right as a landlord to inspect those apartments with notice. Make sure you're checking them out, not just for maintenance issues, but for safety. So make sure you're checking those out. One thing that I'm kind of starting to push, and this year I'd like to make it a goal to get more in town, is something called a Knox box, K-N-O-X. A Knox box is a box that goes on the exterior of your building that holds keys. The fire department has a key to that box. My key will not open any box in any other town. They are keyed separately. So other cities have them, but I can only open my boxes. You can give me a master key. You can give me a key to the front door, back door, whatever you want. I know a lot of them around here that I have, give me a master key so that I can get in anywhere. These boxes the simple box is about $350, which is nothing compared to me using my master key, which is my axe, to break down your door. That's going to cost a lot more. So if you are interested in a Knox box, you can go to knoxbox.com, see what they have out there. There is a process to purchase. I have to approve that purchase, so you would order it, and then it would send me an email for me to approve that purchase so that I know where these Knoxes are. It will come open. I will have to close it. So when you get it mounted, then I'll come in and we'll lock the keys inside. If you have any questions, I would love to get more of these in there. It's great for that 2 a.m. call when you guys are in bed and we're waiting for 20 minutes for a key holder, and we're not sure if something's really going on inside your building or not at all. So it's best for us to be able to just go in, check it, leave, let you know that we found nothing. Fire safety inspections. Recently I've had a lot of questions about this. I think like Paula said, with the recent fires in the Columbus Grove, Lipsick, if we do inspections, we do not have an inspection bureau. I have a couple members that are inspectors, so we can come down and check things out. But you know, I'd advise doing some sort of life safety inspection from time to time. We will be working with if something would happen downtown or in any of your businesses, we're going to be working pretty closely with the village administration, police department, EMS. We have interoperability. We're going to set up unified command. And police is going to be keeping traffic controlled. That was one of the big issues we had in Columbus Grove. There was not a lot of traffic control. So people, when something like this happens, people want to see it. So they were driving around, they were walking around, and I was there all night, and there was people out at 4 a.m. walking around. So with that, we weren't able to go down some roads with our trucks because there were so many cars parked on. That's not good. So we're going to work with the police department on that. EMS is going to be doing rehab for our members, any injuries or anything like that. So we will work together. If you have any questions and want to find some of the points that I just explained, if you go to the state fire marshal website, that's www.com.ohio.gov/fire. They have under fire prevention, they have some forms. One of them is called the business safety checklist. So you can go there and kind of walk yourself right through this and see if you're ready for the unfortunate emergency. So with that, that kind of ends my part. I don't know, Paula, if you want to open it to questions now or leave it till later, but I'll pass it on to whoever's next.
And I do want to just ask a couple of questions. I know fire is the more rare emergency. In winter, water, wind, ice damage are probably, something, flood, something we all have to deal with at some point. What are the things that we can do to make sure we're ready for those things? And how can we make sure that you have whatever contact information you need for our businesses?
Right. One of the things, and that's something Chief Burkholder will talk about, their department updates every year a contact list for every business in Bluffton. So make sure that Chief Burkholder has that current information. Because like I said, in the middle of the night, when our dispatch is trying to get a hold of somebody and we're calling 4 people, luckily in Bluffton, we know most everybody. So I can go, oh, I know who that is. And then chances are I have them in my phone anyway. But we need to have those numbers and those contacts. As far as being ready for an ice or water, those are tough. I mean, usually if an ice problem, it's something falls. We did have years ago the weight of the snow and ice on top of what's currently the Mercy Health building. When that ceiling collapsed, that was an age issue. The structure was, depleted, and that caused that collapse. Those are unfortunate, but aside from maintaining your business or maintaining your property, there's not a whole lot that can happen there. And we have there's a lot of mutual aid departments within the county that we can call that specialize in maybe ice rescue or water rescue or things like that. We currently have our own boat, but we are not ice certified. That's a totally different animal. We know how to deal with the floods. We've done enough of those.
I know I get questions sometimes about sandbags. When do those come into play?
Usually sandbags are interesting. We'll get phone calls before the flood even happens. The media throws this out, no offense to any of the media here. The media throws it out that the weather's coming and everyone goes to the store, buys all their milk and bread, and then they want sandbags. We don't normally have sandbags readily available because if we open that up, it is a free for all. We have to, have someone there waiting, picking them up. We are supposed to monitor how many people get, but we do have them. We have the bags. We have a plan set up so that if we need them, we make a phone call. The Public Works Department will go get the sand. We've used anybody from university football teams, sports teams, high school teams. They come down and we'll fill bags I don't know, Jesse and Jan and Ryan, how many we filled in the '07 flood in a short period of time, but it was impressive that day. So yes, sandbags are available. We just kind of watch on when we get ready to deploy those.
Ryan, would you like to take the floor and tell us any winter type advice, questions people should ask themselves?
Thank you, Paula. I'm going to go off the topics that were given to me, which will cover those. And also, John has helped me out by already giving some of the information out. Thanks, John. Let's start off by the alarms and video systems. I think as a good way to deter and prevent crime that could happen to your business, it's good to consider to invest in a good quality camera system. One in particular that will be able to zoom in and out to be able to pick up the details and make a clear identification. An example would be last year with the school being broke into. The camera system that was used was strong enough to be able to identify the subject that broke in and later was convicted. The key thing to remember is when you do purchase camera systems, you got to make sure that they're time and date stamped for evidentiary reasons. The courts just say this is a must. So just as a idea and a concern I would have for everybody is to consider this. Not only are you protecting yourself, but you're protecting your neighbors, because it's not always what the camera picks up at your business that helps solve the crime. It could be the other business down the road where a vehicle is parked. The second topic I was asked to talk about is basically it's the crimes of opportunity. And these are the thefts that go on. There is no exact pattern, but I do notice a uptick typically during the holiday seasons because people are crunched for money. And these are difficult times that we're all facing in society right now. Car thefts are the easiest ones typically to be prevented because all you have to do is lock your doors and not leave your valuables in there. So how would this apply to the businesses today? Well, from the business aspect, while you're in your business doing your daily routine, just make sure when you do leave your vehicle parked out in the parking lot or out on the street that you lock it up. It's easy for a person to walk by, look down and see the opportunity of a purse or a wallet or a phone or a electronic device of some sort that would be easy to open the door, grab it and walk on. And most people won't pick up on that. Didn't seem right. So again, I stress this several times a year, whether we are having the thefts go on or not, it's always best to give everybody a friendly reminder. Hey, don't get complacent. Let's make sure we're locking our stuff up. And that goes for our homes. Make sure our garages aren't open because again, it's an advertisement. You're showing what you have. We live in a great community. It's a well-off community and we have nice things. And I don't want to see people lose them. And again, you know, it's hard to take the reports and feel bad when some of this could be prevented. So again, in the overall scheme here, let's just lock things up. And that goes for our businesses as well. Leave very limited amount of cash inside. So the thieves, if they do get in for some reason, there's not as much to take. John already started to talk about this topic, but communications with the police department. For many, many years, we have a list of all the businesses with names. Typically, we ask for 3 of who wants to be called if we find it open in the middle of the night or if there's a problem. We've worked with Paula before, and Officer Kent has been doing this for at least since I've been chief, so coming up on 5 years here. Officer Kent checks once a year to see if there is updates. Officer Kent, his contact information is on the village website, or if the email wants to be sent to me as well, that's fine. I can update it. That list is also shared with the sheriff's department. one of the topics I wanted to cover, a part of this is because it has happened. If you were to get a phone call and your business was left unlocked, it will probably not be myself. It probably won't be the night shift that's actually going to be talking to you. You will hear from an Allen County dispatcher. Okay, so don't be alarmed. We've had that recently where someone got a call from Allen County Sheriff's Department, couldn't understand why it wasn't us. It's not us because we're trying to make the building safe for you to come through then and tell us if anything's missing. So instead of all that radio traffic, which could potentially put us at risk if somebody is in there, we let our dispatcher through the county talk to you on the phone and say, hey, we need you to respond. With that being said, when you do respond, please don't just go right into the building. Wait until we come out and talk to you to make sure it's safe. Because the last thing we want to do is accidentally someone get hurt because they've walked in on us, or when they walked in, the intruder interacts with them before we can get to you to make sure you're safe. With that being said, I also would like to point out, if you're going into your business early in the morning, say you start your routine every day at 5:30 in the morning and you notice something's not right, or you think that the door was open or the window might not seem right, call us, let us come down and go through for you, and then make sure it's safe. And then you can go back through and just tell us, hey, this is missing, this is not missing. Again, it's all about safety here and communication. If you make a change throughout the year of, say, an employee moves on, an employee resigns, or if you have to terminate an employee and they're on that call list, please make that quick phone call. Let us know that it's changed and that person won't no longer be on that list so we can update it. Once a year has been what we've practiced, but if something changes, please let us know. And Paula, I think in the past you've shot out an email for Lonnie so he can keep that list going. Sometimes Lonnie will stop in if he can't make contact with you and get that information. So any new businesses especially, please don't hesitate, reach out to me either by email or Officer Kent by email. Give me a list of your top 3 people that you want to respond. If you only have 2, that's fine as well. And phone numbers. And if you can give a secondary phone number, that would be great as well. The last topic I wanted to kind of cover is kind of what John was talking about with the emergencies that we face throughout the year due to weather. And basically, this is a general knowledge. I don't expect anybody here to have an issue with it, but it's just nice to get that information out, which is when the roads are closed due to flooding, it is a citable offense. And we work very hard to try to keep these roads blocked. And in the past, we have seen people drive out and around barricades. And as we move forward, you may not get cited right that moment, but we will find out who is driving around. Not only are you putting yourself at risk, you're pulling our attention away from what we need to be doing. So it will be a citable offense as we move forward. And that's operation of a vehicle on a roadway when covered by water. Also, it kind of wraps things up. When we have these events going on and we're trying to get things done and we're limited on resources until we can get the mutual aid, we can't have disruption. And we see it throughout society these days. But again, that's a misconduct at an emergency, which is another citable offense. It could be jailable at that time on the scene. Again, I don't expect the group that we're talking to today to be a part of this, but again, this is an opportunity for me to get it out there that these are citable offenses. These are things that if we have to deal with, we will have to deal with them and move on, because at the end of the day, it's trying to get the situation resolved as quickly as possible, as safely as possible, and without adding more issues to compound what we're trying to accomplish. I think John will agree with me that, especially when it comes to the floods, and I know we've said it about 4 times today, so I hope that doesn't mean something's coming down the road soon, but we see it a lot. People want to gawk and see what's going on. Believe me, there's a time and place for it, and it's not when we're out there trying to figure out how to get things safe at that time. We'll always try to set up an area and keep good relationships with our media. I know Fred, we work together very well with, and he gets everything out as fast as possible for us. And I would open it up for questions right now.
And I just want to ask a question too of Jan here really quick. We've talked about being prepared for your building, getting your employees out of a building. Other than like Band-Aids in the first aid kit, do people have what they need generally? What kind of things do you respond to with EMS, and what guidance do you have for employers?
Well, different things that John was talking about, the different times when the fire is called. Sometimes it's for odors, sometimes it's for carbon monoxide detectors, make sure the building's evacuated. If more than one person's sick, all of a sudden they're having flu-like symptoms and stuff, that's a big sign of carbon monoxide. Get everybody outside, call for the fire department and EMS. We'll come check everybody out. Different things that occurred in the past on businesses, or people that fall out front on the ice, slips and falls, trips and falls. It's nice if the business might have a blanket to put underneath the victim or somebody that's injured, because it's going to be 10 minutes before ambulance gets there. The police have blankets in their cars, so they fortunately are able to go and help out. But if a business was able to supply blankets, that would be great. Different things that occurred are shoveling incidents. When people are out shoveling their walks out front, many businesses hire it done. But if you're doing it yourself, avoid that overexertion and stuff, because a lot of people aren't in shape enough to do it. Take frequent breaks and avoid that overexertion. Different things you can do in your private vehicles is put blankets in there as well, flashlights, extra batteries. And another thing I'm guilty of is when we leave for work, we don't scrape our windows, right? We scrape a little hole in our windows so that we can see. We're only going a block or two, so what's the big deal? Make sure you clean your entire windshield, get up a little earlier, start your car, warm it up. That way that's all set to go. John pointed out to me, we have a few apartments on Main Street, and a lot of our apartment buildings in town, we supply what we call vials of life. And that's like a medicine bottle that you put a medication list in, allergies, your medical history and stuff. And if this could be brought up to a lot of the tenants in these apartments and stuff, what they do is they put this vial of life in their refrigerator. And that way, when we go to the scene, and if somebody's too sick to answer questions, there's a magnet that we have them put on their door that says vial of life on it. And we can go to the refrigerator, open it up, grab that vial out. We'll have their medication list, their allergies, so that we can give that to the doctor at the hospital, because these are important questions that need answered for their treatment. And these are available for the public as well, if anybody would ever want one. That's all I have on my list right now. I'm trying to read a chicken scratch here, and I can't even read my own writing. Okay, here it is. On Main Street businesses, we have alleys behind a lot of the businesses, and obviously Main Street in front. It's nice to know when you call 911, let the dispatch know where you want the ambulance to arrive, in the back alley or in the front of the business. It's nice if we can go in the back alley in a lot of instances, because we don't want to block Main Street, because there's not any place normally to park for an ambulance. And that's all I have, Paula.
Thank you, Jan. That's some great information. I hadn't heard of the vial of life before. That makes so much sense to me. And Jesse, we talked briefly a little bit about permitting and why we have codes and why we have inspections for renovations. Do you want to just make a quick reminder about that?
Yeah, sure. I think John touched on that at first when he talked about, perhaps firewalls, electrical security. Again, it's anytime there's one of those regulatory agencies, that would be, in our case, Wood County Building Inspection. Again, for all commercial properties, Wood County enforces the Ohio Building Code throughout the village of Bluffton. And their sole purpose is to ensure that your property is protected, that any events that occur on your property will be covered by your insurance company. So as long as you are proceeding with any changes, regardless how minor, I would contact Wood County Building Inspection and have them come out, take a look if necessary. If not, it might just be a phone call. Well, they'll say, no, you don't need to have any permits to perform that work. But again, it ensures that anything that happens on your property will be covered by your insurance company. And again, their whole goal is to keep you and the general public safe. So that's all I've got, Paul. You guys keep doing what you're doing. It's great. Yeah, you're doing a great job with the public spaces that we all share. We appreciate you. You continue to make Bluffton a viable and desired place to be. Whether it's Ryan's sweet train set or just a full business front, keep up the great work. You guys are a pleasure to work with.
Thank you so much to our panel. I really think these are such important reminders, and I learned a lot today from this discussion. So let's go on now to our member announcements. I know we're running a little bit over today, so if anyone needs to jump to the top of the line, please let me know. Any hands raised on anybody with an announcement who wants to go first? All right, I'll go in order on my agenda here then. I have Fred Steiner, our Bluffton icon, to talk about his new book, The Bluffton Anthology.
Thanks, Paula. There are 12 writers in Bluffton who I've worked with who have contributed to the book. It's available in 5 stores downtown, and it has a lot of short little essays and that kind of thing on Bluffton you may find of interest. I'll pass it back to you. Thank you very much.
And I had the pleasure of watching Fred and his contributors at a library program. Jessica, I'm going to hand it over to you so you can tell us a little bit about that and what is coming up in this month at the library.
Absolutely. Well, we were thrilled to have Fred and the contributing authors on a Zoom call. We've been really fortunate to have a lot of digital interaction with the community. We often have authors, both local and otherwise, come in and talk about what they've been writing. So we're really happy about that, and really good turnout too. Our January programs range from take and make kits that you can do by yourself or with your family. We continue to do our Origami Live, which is a collaboration with the Japanese Outreach Initiative Coordinator for BGSU. We're having a virtual family trivia night. And then we've continued our Pen Pal programs. We have one with Reader's Advisory, pre-K through 12th grade, which our Youth Services Coordinator handles. And she's also been doing Zoom meetings with the school and with the preschools, which is a lot of fun. We have our Pen Pal program with the area nursing homes, which is very full, and we're excited about that. And then our book bag subscription service started this month as well.
Wow, so you are not letting any grass grow under your feet.
We always stay busy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for all of those programs. Superior Energy Solutions, Dan Clear has great news for people interested in solar. I can't hear you, Dan. There you go.
Okay, got me now? Yeah, with the stimulus package, of which most of you probably got your stimulus money already this week, but included in that was an extension of the income tax credit for solar installations as well as some other things. But in particular to me is the fact that the solar income tax credit is going to be extended for 2 more years at the 26% level. It was slated to reduce down to 22% this year and then go away altogether next year for residential and 10% for commercial. However, they extended the 26% for 2 years. So that's really a great incentive for those people who are interested in looking at solar. So if you'd like more information on it, obviously give me a call. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. And Mitch Kingsley, hi there. I'm going to be talking with Mitch as the BCE here in a couple of weeks. Mitch, you want to introduce our topic to our viewers?
Yes, so this is one of those roundtable discussions about items that might pertain to your business for the BCE and interested people. So I think it's open to anyone who wants. This is on the let's see, the 14th at 6 p.m. Correct?
That's correct.
The topic for that evening is going to be setting up a business with your friend, or how do partnerships work, and what are some of the issues that should be considered as you think about going into the weeds, the business with your friend. So that's the topic. I see some people right on the screen right now who are trying to do business with their friends. Like there's Liz and Raymond. And yeah, so, you know, there are issues there. And that's kind of what we're going to talk about that night. Any questions about that?
Yeah, I kind of think the discussion could be like a business partnership is kind of like a marriage. You have the courtship, you have the engagement, you have the contract. I almost left out the honeymoon period, Mitch, when I was making the list. The honeymoon period, counseling, perhaps you might need counseling, perhaps you might have a divorce. So I think we can kind of walk through all those phases.
Yeah, so why am I on this? Oh, yeah, that's I'll talk a little bit about some of the legal issues and kind of preparing for that. So that's kind of my part of that, but there'll probably be wisdom from all sources on that little discussion. So thank you.
Looking forward to that on the 14th. Yeah. BlufftonCE@gmail.com is where you can RSVP, and we'll send you the link. Does anybody else have announcements? Wonderful. So our next meeting is February 12th, and I would like to talk about Bluffton promotion. Halfway through the holidays, I woke up with the idea of an I Break for Bluffton campaign. Whether we go forward with that tagline or we find other ones, I really think that we have so many reasons for people to get off the expressway. People in town are not traveling, so they're spending more time and more dollars in Bluffton. So next month, I'll send out some materials. Maybe you can do a little advance thought, and then we will gather together and really have more of a discussion rather than a monologue about promoting Bluffton. So Happy New Year, everyone. Please feel free to stick around. I can turn off the recording and we can continue to talk. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.